This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. Say, are you ready to begin?
Oh, yes, we are, Mr. Ravenlord. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Gizmozord Parker, and you are listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 117, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I am joined tonight, of course, by the other Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multi-Zord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zord Reader. And on this week's episode, Blizzard continues to tease us. What does it mean? Probably a new hero. We don't know, though. Soundtracks enter, lots of things going on in the news. We have a new balance patch, and we're going to talk last week's Crucible. But first, let's see how the other fellers there are doing. TBK, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. But you know, all the launcher could mean is that maybe the power's out at Blizzard.
That's true.
Yep.
And they're just using candles. It's totally possible.
Yeah.
I think actually, in fact, probable.
Because, you know, I mean, their servers aren't at headquarters, so, you know, the stuff should still be running fine.
Yeah. No, they just all the power's out, and someone was just like, crap, we need candles. I don't know what else we can do. Someone just draw some candles real fast, maybe. We'll throw it up on our Twitter just for funsies.
Well,
just use that.
They better get it fixed soon, because it looks like their time's running out, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Multi, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. I am running on very little sleep over the last couple nights, though. For some reason, I've had these allergies have been killing me, and I think it's turned into a cold or an infection of some kind. So if I'm a little out of it, at least you know why. But I'm otherwise doing well. Just kind of, actually, you know, I've gotten to play a decent amount since our last one with the holiday weekend that we just had here and stuff. So I'm doing well otherwise.
Awesome.
How about you?
I am doing all right. My, you know, right on time, about 8:30 Central cough is, you know, it's there. It's here to celebrate the show with us, as it always is. But yeah, I've I played a lot more this week than I have the past couple weeks, and I got to tell you, I'm a terrible person. I'm a bad man, a bad human being. I have done it again. You know, the first time was till Sylvanas. All she wanted to do, she was there to make me happy. You know, that's all she wanted, was for me to be happy, and I was happy with her. But then, you know, Kerrigan kind of came into my life, and I was unfaithful to Sylvanas, and like Kerrigan was bae. But now
it's Chromie, isn't it?
No, I've done it. I've done it again, and
he's still going.
It's Diva has like just shown herself to me these past few weeks. You. I don't even know how.
I think she's like 19.
Let's
but
not
still.
like let's. I wasn't going that
You're
far.
gonna find out she's like.
I wasn't going
15 or something, and then you're gonna feel real bad.
No, I think she's 19. I'd have to look back into that, but
I wasn't. Where you guys get your head out of the gutter? I'm just talking about, you know, enjoying spending time with them in Heroes. You know, some other people aren't enjoying me spending time in Heroes with them, but I can't be faithful.
Let's just address the fact that your first love, Sylvanas, is dead.
Oh.
Yep.
Let's cover that.
And the second love is Zerg.
Mostly bug. Yeah.
Mostly bug. And your third love is a 19-year-old Korean StarCraft player.
Hey, age is just a number, right? I don't know.
I mean, to a point.
Technically.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, you see, you guys, I didn't even take it there this episode. You guys did. I'm just Simon Heroes. I don't know, but I freaking love Diva, which is surprising because I'm not a fan of her early in Overwatch at all, and I think I've mentioned that before. But she's just super fun to play, and I feel like she's in a pretty good spot. We'll probably see some more tweaks here and there. But TBK, how about you? What have you been up to this last week? It's not just Heroes this week. I know
it's
for
true.
a fact.
It's true. It's not just Heroes this week. Because I did play some Heroes while I was gone last week at my conference. I went to Harry Potter Land at Universal on Thursday night. That was pretty fun. And then I came home and I got a few games. I got, well, every single Zord just about now has gotten Player Unknown Battleground.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and grabbed it. I've only played like 3 games of it. I need to learn it more.
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to spend some more time in it, and the enjoyability will rise as that goes. I've spent a little bit of time in Dungeon Defenders 2 because I really love the first game, and I hadn't played the second game in forever, and they've made tons and tons of updates since the last time I played, so that was pretty fun. And then played some Team League, did fairly well in that just because I enjoy Team League whenever I can get it. And yeah, so it was like variety week for TBK.
That's good. Yeah, it's still, it's always good to explore other games and stuff, and just to keep your other mechanics up. I think it helps in Heroes. Multi, how about you?
I've actually been doing a lot of Heroes. In particular, I've been on this huge support kick that I've been doing lately. But as of this past week, I got on there and I had a really good game with Li Ming. And then I got on and had a really, really good game with Lunara. And I started getting on this kick where, like, I know that if I can perform that well every now and then, that I should be able to just keep it up consistently. And so I've actually spent a good portion of the past week, at least when I get the chance to play, getting in there and trying out different damage characters I haven't played in a while and holding myself to a higher standard. And it's been paying off. Like I hate to toot my own horn here, but I've been raking in those MVPs, the top hero damage, top siege damage, depending on who I'm playing. And it's been a lot of fun. Like I think I'm taking on this new leaf of really pressuring myself to get better, because frankly, for a long time, like I've played the game just to enjoy it, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I'm starting to get like a second wind and have like this drive to get my chops back up there. So it's been a lot of fun just to even do that.
Yeah. Would you say you're trying to get good?
That's right. GITGUD.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's it.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
That is it. So anyway, no, it's been good though, for sure. And Tyrande. Oh, that Tyrande.
I don't know why her win percentage is so low right now. I really don't.
No. I do. And it's because she's not easy to play. Like in the end, she doesn't have any escapes. She has 2 abilities that are skill shots. I mean, one's the, targeted on the ground skill shot, but still, I mean, she's just not easy to play. So I think that, and we'll talk about this later, but I think the little buff she got was Blizzard trying to address that. But I mean, you can't ever fully address it without totally changing your kit, and that's fine. I think it's okay if she's a little tougher to play.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah, that's a good point. And she is the other one. So I hadn't told Kerrigan about her yet. It's just Diva at this point, but there it is. It's 2.
Wow. The saga goes on.
He likes to play around, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's don't hate the player, hate the game. But don't, because it's a gaming podcast. Yeah. All right.
But don't hate the game.
Before you guys,
please don't hate the game. It's an awesome.
Don't go back to League of Legends.
Okay, hate the player, don't hate the game.
Right, there you go.
Before you turn off this episode, let's get into the show here. TPK, what have we got going on for the weekly collection update?
So this week we have Li Ming at 375 gems, and we also have Butcher at. So the site I use, which is heroesofthestorm.gamepedia.com, awesome site, but it's saying Butcher's at 312. I don't know if I believe that, but I don't really know because I own all of them.
Yeah.
And so I never look in game. But we're going to go with it. It's 300-ish.
There you go.
Butcher's 300-ish gems. Yeah. And then we've got the Wisdom Archangel Tyrael, which is the Master Skin, the blue and black Master Skin. Fantastic.
No,
highly recommend you pick that up.
The best.
It is not.
Yes, it is. That's a discussion from a long time ago. Seraphim's
Oh my
definitely the
gosh.
best, though.
It is not, but that's okay. Fellblood Illidan, Sous Chef Stitches, and Sapphire Cyberhawk Kael'thas, which is the superhero Kael'thas skin. And if you don't have a variation of that, again, highly recommend you pick that up because it is an awesome, awesome skin.
Mm-hmm.
4 mounts this time around: the Cloud Serpent, the Royal Armored War Steed, the Crimson War Bear, which again, one of the best mounts in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic mount. Grab that. And the Hunter Space Lord Starbreaker, which is that sweet futuristic motorcycle that came with the Space Lord Leoric skin. Definitely pick that one up too.
It's the
Speaking
Boba
of
Fett
that
colors.
skin, yeah, that's right. That's right. Speaking of that skin, I actually just crafted the white version of it because I had gotten the Space Lord Starbreaker mount that was that coloration, and I wanted to craft one of them because I've always wanted it, but I was torn so much between just the regular base red and black one and then that white and purple one. But yeah, actually getting it out of the loot crate changed my mind for me. Has that happened to you guys yet? To where like your pulls from the crates actually affect like what you end up crafting?
Sometimes.
I haven't really. I've been saving my shards. I still have like 4,500 shards. I haven't really been crafting a lot, and I'm up to like 18 boxes saved up for whatever the next event is with skins and whatnot. So,
Right. Yeah, I've been saving boxes too, but I don't know. I needed that Space Lord skin, and I do not regret
So
it.
good. It's so good.
yeah, and one thing I noticed, the Sapphire Cyberhawk Kael'thas, I believe that's kind of the same skin tint coloration as the Tyrande superhero was last week. So that'd be really cool if they kind of keep
Combo those up.
Yeah, the themes going, but
Yeah.
with the same skin tints too, so you can have like the superhero kits all in the same skin tone. Would be sweet.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes there. Multi free hero rotation this week.
Oh, let's see. We've got Dahaka, Falstad, Gazlo, Johanna, Leoric, Lucio, Malfurion, Sylvanas, Thrall, Vala, Zul at 5, Kerrigan at 10, Probius at 15, and the one that you've all been waiting for, Genji at 20. If you've not tried Genji out yet, here's your shot. I've got to think he's in every game.
There's gonna be so many Genjis.
So many Genjis.
I didn't see him at all today after work.
Really?
Surprising.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
You should go buy a lottery ticket then. That sounds pretty rare. But
Interestingly enough, if you go back a few episodes, there's a Genji build.
yeah, you could check that out.
Yeah.
What?
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of like advertisement within. It's like meta advertisement.
Yep.
It is.
Speaking of Probius, though, I have to throw this in here because I had a 41-minute game on Tomb of the Spider Queen with Probius over the past week.
There's
And
a reason for that.
Yeah, well, on top of that, on top of everything, really, there were probably 5 or 6 team fights that broke out where 4 died on either side. Like, it was the scrappiest game I've ever been in. So we just sat there and watched timers and did not push ever. It was great.
You just reminded me of this last week. I had a 45-minute Garden Terror match. I was playing with one of my friends from work, and I was on Tyrande, and so I had both hero damage and healing well over 100,000. In this game, it not only did it go 45 minutes, it should have gone 22, 23 minutes. But I could not get my team to gather to end when they should
Couldn't
end.
end it, yeah.
And the other team couldn't end
Yeah.
it either. And it was just a huge stalemate of like, okay, we're burning the golems down fast enough. There's no reason for us to go in the mines right now. We need to force this team fight, finish them, and go push. And it's like we would get 2 kills, and my team would back out instead of going down like to secure the wipe. And it was the most frustrating thing in the world. And we ended up losing. Finally,
You're
I didn't
on
even care at that
Haunted
point.
Mines.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
it's
said
brutal.
Garden of Terror.
Oh, that's Haunted Mines.
And I was just like, that's not in rotation right now.
Haunted Mines. Collecting things. So it was
That's
the
Right.
craziest
Concept.
thing ever.
that's insane. And you wouldn't ever think a 2-lane map would last that long.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it was nuts. I was just speechless the entire time. But I guess crazy things happen. But let's go ahead and get into the news this week. All right. first up here, the Heroes of the Storm soundtrack featuring Kyle Ferguson as Raynor is officially out for you to download or stream.
Yeah.
And I don't know who tweeted that. I saw it because Kyle responded, and he's like, BRB 2 years in the gym. But it does look like Kyle Ferguson, and you can't deny it.
I want to go ahead and comment on this. The link to it, of course, will be in the show notes, but the artwork that came with it is literally one of the best things I've ever seen. And there's a Stitches drummer, an ETC rocking out, the Raynor on the guitar, and then like Lee Ming on vocals. And I need to have band skins. I need that Stitches drummer skin, and I need that Lee Ming lead singer skin.
And the Raynor.
Like,
I don't know how the Raynor one would work necessarily.
It's not
bass
like
could be
super,
a gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bass is
maybe.
the gun. I like it. I wonder if they were hints toward future skins, though. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
I would buy them all, especially the Stitches drummer skin. Like that just makes me happy.
But
Agreed.
it is beautiful artwork, and I don't know for sure who did it, but I assume from the Lee Ming eyes, it was Raspberry.
It was.
So, fantastic job, sir. It is wonderful, as always.
Oh yeah, and the soundtrack too. I mean, we've had access to some of these tracks just from various YouTube videos and that sort of thing as well. But to have it all in one place is really nice. And actually, this dropped on a day where I had a rare chance to actually just be kind of not facilitating in front of a class like I usually do at my job, but I was actually, doing some background stuff and double checking the domain and all this stuff. So I was actually able to listen to this the day it dropped, and it actually made like just basic computery type work seem really epic. Felt like I was playing esports in the middle of my workday. It was great.
And it's 15 tracks. It doesn't have any of like the Lucioth stuff or the new Diva theme, anything like that. It's the base Heroes of the Storm soundtrack, which is incredible. So it's free. So grab it while it's hot. We also have here the IRL loot chest giveaway. So when Heroes 2.0 launched, if you saw us post these things to Twitter that are absolutely incredible, it is a literal loot chest. And you were wondering how you can get one? Well, you have a chance to get one right now. They're giving away 10 of these, and we'll have the links to do so kind of for the rules and stuff for that. And it has little tokens, anywhere from common, rare, epic to legendary, kind of what's contained in it. But how to enter, you can like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, share on Facebook, and tweet on Twitter. And enter your first, last name, and email, and get how many chances is that? That's 5 chances to enter for 10 of these, and they're amazing. So there's no reason not to do it.
Very,
I love how
cool.
they did this site too. Although I will say that the pint glass is not epic. It's definitely legendary. It's like the best thing in there.
I know. I agree.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, it's really cool they're doing this.
Yeah. Right. Next up, the Heroes of the Storm 2nd anniversary, which is coming up here in game right now. So as of yesterday, which was May 30th, they have the in-game event going on to where if you play one game, you get 1 common loot chest per day from May 30th through June 12th. And the event quest, if you play 3 games versus AI, quick match, unranked, or ranked, you get the anniversary portrait, the spray, and the banner. The banner is incredible. That is like the banner I use now. It's
a very cool banner.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
And the spray is actually really sweet too.
it is.
Is it animated?
That's what I was wondering. It looks like it should be animated.
It does look like it should be animated.
It's kind of popping.
I just actually unlocked it right before we started the show, so I haven't gotten the chance to use it in game yet.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool on the website.
It does. But I hope they do more kind of generic banners like this that aren't universe themed, because I really like that.
Nexus themed.
Yes,
Nexus
themed. But they are also going to be doing a stream on June 5th, 10 a.m. Pacific. That is kind of the official kickoff stream. Tune in for guest games, giveaways, and more. And I imagine the more will be more information on the potential hero.
I imagine the more will be
Will be more.
Yes.
Really? I was thinking it might be less, but
Yeah.
No way.
yeah.
Well, they got you. They got
Yeah.
you. Which
sure
leads
did.
us to the more is on what the new hero may be, because we have on their Twitter right now, of course, this tease that's going on. and it is
And on the launcher.
Yeah, right.
yeah, and on the launcher. I think that's where people first saw it. And let me check here again real quick. So it's 3 candles in like a crypt tombey type of area that are lit. Ryan, you said before the show that it had gone down to 2 candles.
Yes.
Yep.
I got
On
news
the
for
launcher
you.
right now, I see 2.
On Twitter,
Yeah, the left one is out.
let me restart the launcher. On Twitter, it is still 3 candles. Okay, no. On the
Well,
launcher.
you can't edit GIFs.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they could have reposted. So, I
Maybe
don't know.
that's too much.
But-
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen him repost it yet. But yeah, on the launcher, one of the 3 candles has gone out as of just probably like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I saw
Which is very interesting.
in chat room. XXL Epic was the one that mentioned it was back at 3, so it may have been a 3 Epic 323 meme, but it's not. The launcher is still 2 confirmed.
Yeah.
So that kind of just speculation is Days Till Hero announcement,
Yeah.
right?
'Cause I'm assuming by this, and it's interesting. The candles, who knows? Maybe the candles don't have anything to actually even do
Yeah.
with the hero. Maybe
Right.
it's just like, because it's very Diablo-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Very
If you
much
guys got that vibe, I definitely got a Diablo vibe.
Well, a lot of people are pointing
from
to the
this.
first cinematic from Diablo 3, the one that has Leah and Deckard Cain in it.
Yeah,
Deckard Cain is in that one.
and it's yeah,
And that's a possibility.
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be.
No, what's changed your
I don't
mind?
think. Well, I never was sold on it being Deckard Cain, because I feel like Deckard Cain is just one of those that's like a BlizzCon
yeah.
type thing.
Possibly,
Like
but then
he just feels so BlizzCon-y. My current guesses, Malthael would be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be pretty happy with him. Or we've only got like 2 of the primevals.
Mhm.
Like there's tons more primevals, and it's been forever since we've gotten a villain, like a legitimate villain.
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome if it was one of the primevals.
yeah, like Mephisto or somebody.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it looks like Tal Raj's tomb. So I don't know, but
A lot of people are saying it's going to be a kobold too. So.
That
Yeah,
okay,
that's-
that's my dream.
Oh,
that's
is it?
the other
Yes.
one, right?
But nothing else about this
It's gonna be
looks
candle related.
koboldish. What about
if this was in a mine? Maybe.
Yeah. what? So Multi,
Right.
what about you? What's your top guesses?
Deckard Cain, for sure, because it's also the 5th year anniversary of Diablo 3 presently, so it kind of celebrates that. And I mean, yes, you're right. It's a Deckard Cain seems like someone that could come out at BlizzCon as well. But the 2-year anniversary of the game's pretty hype as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that
I think it's definitely a possibility.
it's possible. And I think my call would be that someone big like Deathwing or Kel'Thuzad or something like that would be the BlizzCon big showcaser. But that this is possibly Deckard Cain. Now, the one thing that's kind of making me doubt my own guess here is the way that Blizzard has been misdirecting us with these as of late. You think of the claw marks for the Hanamura
And the
cinematic,
growl,
making us
yeah.
think that it was... Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, are these candles our claw marks? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
if it's a
that's-
misdirect or
that's-
what.
That's why I was kind of thinking, especially when one of them went out, that maybe they were more of a countdown than a full-on tease. Maybe a tease in the universe, but maybe not necessarily a tease directly to what the character. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a lot to go on, to be completely honest. Let's talk for 30 minutes about 3 candles, and one of them went out.
the only I mean the only 2 heroes I can think of that the candles themselves would tie directly into would be Deckard Cain or a kobold. Which again, I would love a kobold, I would love Deckard Cain, but I'm kind of leaning towards Malthael, just because in the background that could be the chapel, maybe from the first cinematic, but it looks more like some sort of crypt or something like that. I know people have been mentioning Tower Shah, but it looks very cryptish from the Reaper of Souls expansion
Cinematic.
and the Malthael
I would be
cinematic, and there's that
extremely
fog and
happy
stuff.
If it was Malthael.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
the
he's
2-year
one of my
anniversary of Reaper of Souls. No,
5
sorry,
year.
5
Or
year.
Reaper of Souls, I'm not sure. 5 year of the game overall.
Yeah, but so I don't know. We'll see though. And
it seems like Diablo is pretty likely, just
does.
because like Kevin was saying, it's a tie. It'd be a tie-in with an anniversary type thing.
what's Maybe it's just the Hot's birthday countdown, and maybe it doesn't have anything to do.
Like you said,
Because it's
maybe,
birthday candles. Like
yeah, maybe
Epic
they're
said.
Oh, wow.
they're weird, creepy birthday candles.
But it's made to
they're
make us
blowing
think.
one out each day until Friday.
That'd be hilarious
And
if it's really
That's
nothing.
the countdown.
And then they wait till the
Control it.
fifth
Funny.
stream to say anything.
See, nobody's gonna know because Blizzard was so trolly
Yeah.
with the last hero reveal that everyone's gonna be
Right.
like, "Oh no, that's too obvious.
Yeah.
Must be something else."
Yeah.
Well, regardless, well done, Blizzard, on you trolling us.
Oh no, I've never been this excited about candles in my entire
Yeah.
life.
The
Just flat
Every
out.
GIF I posted today was candle themed.
Oh yeah, as you
Like-
should.
the one other kind of, guess to a potential here I'll give you here. It was my favorite Twitter response to this, and it said, 3 candles. What do you need to light a candle? Fire. Who breathes fire? Dragons. Deathwing confirmed.
Yep.
So there you go. TBK. Who knows?
I mean, if you want to go down that path, 3 candles, 3 Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah, there we go. It is all. We're
like-
getting all of the
Half-Life-
things. In Half-Life 3 will be in the Blizzard.
Launcher.
Yes.
There you go.
Wow, we went there, didn't we?
Maybe one candle goes out every time they nerf the Fire Lord, Ragnaros.
Yep. Activision bought Steam or Valve.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we talk about that, like you said, for 30 minutes about 3 candles, we talked 10 minutes. 1 candle's down. Maybe if we talk another 10, there'll be two blown out.
Like we'll check it before the end of the show, guys, and see if we've lost another candle. Leave it to Blizzard to get us to talk about candles. 3 candles.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So on to more news here. Asgaz, Alex Klonsez. Did I say that right? Klonsez.
I'm not
Clances. Let's go with Clances.
Ryan, give a guess, just so I'm not the only one that may have.
Clances.
Okay, there you go. Alex, we apologize if we got that wrong. Anyways, he had sent out a tweet here about the good news. The web weavers on Tomb of the Spider Queen are back to vomiting purple arcane stuff all over your structures.
So if you noticed,
I did
then
not
your
notice.
Spider Queen games were running a little long, which I definitely did notice. Yeah, the web weavers were bugged and they weren't shooting out their little waves, which
That's
was
a lot of damage.
huge DPS decrease. Yeah,
What a weird thing to just stop working.
I know.
Man, game design's so
is
weird. Like
strange.
development is so weird. It's like, oh, I put an A here. It just broke half the game.
It's the old saying of 35 bugs in the game, take one down, fix it up. 73 bugs in the game.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And he is one of the live ops and design producers for those heroes, so he knows this stuff. We're good to go. We're good to go. And announced today. We were just talking all day today. You know what? Today might be a shorter show, and we're like, we're kind of okay with that. We've gone longer. Lo and behold, like right after that, Blizzard said, no, guys, don't worry about it. Here's a balance patch you can talk about. So thank you. Obviously, they listen
Never
into our group
fails.
chat, which I don't, you
Never
guys can
fails.
listen to it. So some interesting changes here. A lot of small stuff, but also some medium to not so medium stuff here. The Alarak change is... I'm just covering everything possible. That way I'm always
There's
right.
more, and then is really just kind of more.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I've just learned that. You cover all the bases, and then no one can be like, hey, dude, you were totally wrong. So for Alarak here, he got a nerf, and he got a buff to certain things. So, DBK, what's your overall opinion? So the main thing, or not main thing here, one of the things is his level 4 Chaos Reigns talent, which was...
Yeah. So
you're-
it's kind of a power redistribution.
Yeah.
More than a nerf. So they nerfed the initial damage bonus for hitting 15, and they nerfed the damage bonus for hitting 2 at the same time with a single, and then they buffed the hit 3 at the same time. So it makes getting the 3. It's fairly similar overall, but they just moved power up into the triple hit quest objective.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
also buffs Shadow of Force damage, the Pure Malice at 13. This is actually fairly big. The sadism gain per allied death.
This is so funny. Because and this is all credit to Kyle for tweeting this out. Heroes is now supporting the feed meta.
Yeah, that's
so you get more sadism gained per allied death now from 6 to 10%, and the bonus was increased from 30 to 40. And so worry not, those of you Alarax who are on a feeding team, it will just make you stronger.
Yeah, it's like, are they trying to get more people to pick this? Are they trying to say we're bad?
Yeah, right.
So
what kind of deaths count for this? Like, do murky deaths count? Because
I would guess so. If murky is counted as resets,
any hero deaths.
Really mean.
Yeah. So Vikings, I see some weird synergies
Vikings,
cropping up
Diva,
here.
Murky, any of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Diva suit.
And then for the Rite of Rex-Shear, sadism bonus for killing the targeted hero reduced from 6 to 5. So maybe, I don't know, maybe trying to make it more of a carry in Hero League, so you can carry it harder, I guess. Cassia, small change, charge strikes at level 1 no longer cause attacks to bounce when attacking structures. Ragnaros.
This is a huge change.
Oh, to
this is
Cassia?
actually a really big deal, because charge strikes, for those of you that play Cassia or even don't play Cassia, charge strikes is an incredibly broken talent. It's far and away the best level 1 talent she has. It's got a really low cooldown, and it can end up doing insane amounts of damage. Before, what you could do was when you were sieging, you could basically activate this and attack a wall, and it would bounce the attacks safely to enemy heroes behind.
Okay.
So just absolutely broken. Very little you can do to counter that. And taking a lot of damage. So it's still an amazing talent. It's still probably the best level 1 talent. They just took away what is most likely an unintended use of the talent.
Sounds like it.
And that makes sense. And I'm glad that we've been seeing actually quite a bit of Cassia in competitive play. It's always nice to see kind of the newer heroes make their mark there. But the Ragnaros, this is one that's gotten some people talking. His Q build got a nerf. So Fierce Hungers, bonus damage upon quest completion down from 100 to 90. Health regen at level 4. For catching fire, reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. And then level 13 Q talent, cauterized wounds. Healing bonus reduced from 50 to 40. And there's been a lot of points here. A lot of people are frustrated because, one, Ragnaros hasn't been seen as much as he was. And this was the build used. So I don't know. I imagine the thought here
was the good build.
Yeah. And, I mean, Ragnaros, for a while was either banned or picked. And I have to think their thought here was, okay, well, this is the build people are going. If we nerf that, maybe he won't be banned, but it'll still be good enough to be picked. But I know, and you were talking about on Twitter, TBK, it would seem to make more sense to bring up his other builds,
right?
Which aren't picked.
This whole nerf just makes zero sense to me.
Yeah,
because like you said, he's not picked. He is considered a niche pick now.
Mm-hmm.
He's considered a map specific pick, and it's not even a first pick. Like, this is like a mid draft type pick on certain maps.
Yeah,
because his Q has already gotten nerfed to oblivion. Like, at least I think his Q got nerfed at least twice.
Which is what kept him from going to like automatic ban.
Exactly.
Or first pick.
And so I felt he had settled into a pretty decent spot. He's not like a super lane bully. He's not
anymore,
the
anyway.
Tankiest character in the world.
For sure.
And he was a decent solo lane, but this is going to make him even a worse solo lane than he already is. And so now you've basically boiled him down to his trait and his sulfurous smash. And I don't know, like, this just seems like completely out of nowhere without any cause. Like, no one was complaining about Ragnaros.
Nope.
Like, Ragnaros being in a game was not a big deal. And if you didn't want us using the Q build, well, then buff the freaking E or W builds. Like, if there's a problem, if people are using Q too much, maybe that's because Q is the only viable way to go on him.
Yeah.
And if you nerf everything, then no, that doesn't make W and E viable. That just makes nothing viable.
Well, and the truth is, the Q build might still be the best one. In fact, probably is. I mean, I haven't gotten in there to play with it today yet or not, but and so if it still is the best and only build to go, then it's just a flat nerf to him because you're not incentivized enough to try the other ones out.
Yeah, it's a nerf to damage. It's a nerf to self-sustain. I don't know. Like this is the one change that really kind of made me mad at this balance patch, because Blizzard's usually fairly spot on with most stuff, but this one just seemed completely unnecessary for how little play he's seeing in HGC specifically. He's not seeing a ton of play, but just how little play he's seeing in general. I don't see near as many Ragnaroses, just in games as I normally would, and so I don't know. Please revert. Yeah. Like that's just an unfun change to a hero that was fairly in a fairly good spot, I thought. Or if you're gonna do something like that, maybe roll those back a little bit and tweak his Q or his W and E talents.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Or give him more survivability.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Feels bad, man.
Feels
actually, confirmed the candle to go out of the 3 candles was Ragnaros.
Yes. There it is.
Been extinguished. Yep. So that is it.
Yep. Lord, he is truly now the Lord of Tickles.
Yes. By fire be tickled.
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
Samuro here, top of the win rates for, according to Hot's logs currently. Windwalk, cooldown has been increased by 2 seconds to 15, duration from 8 to 10. Duration, not as big of a deal. It's nice to see the cooldown increased a little bit. Just less opportunistic, or less opportunity to use it. I don't know.
The duration lets you roam a little bit more while stealthed. It's a fair deal.
I don't know. Still, he's one of those heroes that never clicked for me, and I was never able to play him well. But man, apparently, like if
he's a pub
Hero
stomper.
League, yeah,
he's a pub stomper. People don't know how to play against him, and this just makes it a little harder for you to get that perma invulnerability, and allows people a little extra time after the clones are gone to try and kill him off.
Yeah, which is good. Zul'jin here, guillotine can no longer be interrupted. Once cast, the axe is falling.
I love the wording.
It makes sense, you know. It's like I don't care if you stun me after the axe is in the air. That sucker's coming down.
Yep.
So that's a good change for him.
Good goes up, must come down. I mean, it's just,
does make sense.
It's physics.
Probius, which by the way, for Diva, when she calls her mech down, hey, the mech's already down. You stun me, it shouldn't matter. I should get right back into it. So take that 8-second cooldown off there. I think that should happen. Probius here is getting a nerf, which just should happen. He got a nice little buff last time, and he's been kind of taking over the win rates as well. His Q damage just nerfed, pylon overcharge range reduced, turbocharged movement speed cut in half.
Just the damage, not the range. For pylon
overcharge.
Oh, damage.
But that's substantial.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because this is the second time pylon overcharge, if I recall correctly, has gotten nerfed damage wise.
Where did I get range out of that? I don't even know. But the ones I like, turbocharged is cut in half for that movement speed, make him easier to kill. Particle accelerator, damage cap bonus increase from 40 to 50, so giving him a little take there at level 7. And then 13, aggressive matrix, damage bonus increase from 25 to 35, and shield battery, shield amount reduced by roughly 8%. So,
which is pretty crazy because they already nerfed the shield.
Yeah.
Earlier too.
Yeah, now they're nerfing the shield and potentially survivability with movement speed. So
it's like, don't pick the shield, guys. Quick, pick something else on that tier. Don't pick the shield.
No, guys, don't
don't
the shield.
Don't take the shield. Just... Thanks, Blizz.
God mode Tassadar?
Yeah, here's where you do pick the shield. You pick his Q.
What are they doing with Tassadar?
You know, I was hoping after the last round of task nerfs that they would just kind of forget about him and leave him to wallow in his 30 something percent,
It's-
pool all by himself, and that we would forget about Tassadar, and the glorious non-shield meta would continue. But no.
It
more.
is going to be back with a vengeance. So just real quick, basic attack damage increased. Okay, I can go with that. Abilities, Plasma Shield, lifesteal amount increased from 30 to 45%. What a bump. Oh, and Kala's Embrace, let's increase that from 60% to 90% on the lifesteal.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Apparently people have been testing this with like Vala and other auto attackers like Twin Blades, Varian, for instance, and just absolutely crushing. Just so you know.
Yeah, and I can actually imagine the basic attack damage is, 3 at level 1. That's going to scale pretty nice.
And this is a channel beam,
ticking.
pretty much. So that's a It's a decent bump to his AA damage.
I saw a discussion on Twitter, and I don't hate this. Tassadar used to be one of my main go-tos back in like alpha and beta. Someone was talking about they're so sick of the back and forth on these shields and the lifesteal that they would like to see them get rid of his shielding altogether and turn him into just like a mage.
Oh, that's
Q.
literally exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, just get rid of the Q and
Make
give
him
us
a
something
mage.
else and make him a mage.
Yeah, make him a ranged DPS.
And
that would solve everything.
I wonder what it would take for them to do that, because that's not just a hero rework, that's a hero reclassification. And I wonder if that's something they would ever do.
Maybe. If it gets bad enough.
The problem with Tassadar is that when he's not good enough, you just never see him. And that when he is good enough, you never don't see him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which is, it's just a really sucky place to be. And that's just how shields work in the game right now, because the only counter to shields is damage them. Like, the only counter to shields is to destroy them. There's no, other than Varian's Shattering Throw, there is no other shield removal type stuff in the game other than just raw damage.
Yeah. And
so, I don't know, until you maybe have more of that mechanic in the game, shielding is just so strong, and that's why Zarya has remained very strong up until this point. So I don't know. Personally, I would be completely okay with scrapping shield altogether, making Tass a mage, because Tassadar is kind of a mage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's kind of awesome and damagey in StarCraft. Let's give him a sweet Q ability, and then now you can balance him as a ranged assassin.
Yeah.
You could even keep all the other abilities, including both heroics.
Yeah.
That could all stay the same.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my main concern about this. Well, one, pick Tassadar back up for your hero league, because I imagine you will be able to do some damage and climb some ranks with him like this. But my main concern here, they have been introducing these patches into HGC quicker than usual. I really hope this patch with this change is not there for the mid-season brawl. I don't want to see a forced Tassadar ban, or I don't want to see him just destroying teams. That's my big worry with this right now.
Cool.
Do you think that's going to be the case? Because that's still...
Spoiler alert, it is going to be the case.
Yeah, there you go. So,
that
fun times.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think it's going to be...
Oh, go ahead.
Do you think it has potential to be auto-ban then?
A lot of it's going to be testing, but honestly, if you put 90% lifesteal, and granted, there is some counterplay because you can destroy the shield now, and there is a short few second cooldown of Tassadar not having any more shield to shield you, just because they got rid of the whole once one shield's gone, you'll have another one up as soon as it expires thing. But at the same time, you throw that in with a carry like a Vala, like a Greymane, like a Tracer, and that's just such a potent combination, because you can get in and just destroy people, and by the time, and just be healing so much like I don't know. It's rough. You could go in with half health. You could do some damage. You could get the shield thrown on you. By the time the shield's expired, you're now at full health again.
Mm-hmm.
There's crazy potential for that type of thing, and so I don't know if that will necessarily be the case. I mean, we can't really say for certain until the pros actually get a hold of it, or until we really try this out in game more. I mean, it just came out today, but I would definitely think there is the potential for something like that to happen again, and I just don't think people want to deal with the shield stuff. Like, no one seems to like Tassadar. Like, all the pros I saw tweeting, it's just like, no, Tassadar, just leave him, delete him, change him into a mage type thing.
And
I don't think I can argue. Like, I don't like shields.
Well, and it's
with the way the current game's set up.
The craziest thing about this is it's not just buffing Tassadar again. This is buffing his shields by 33%. Like, why couldn't they have done it by like 5% for his Q, kind of and maybe 10%? Like, this reminds me of Zarya when she first came out.
Increase
is
it's just Zarya
I mean, but that's a huge part of it. But like, a change this big reminds me of Zarya when she first came out, like just over buffing her out of nowhere.
It's a big jump. It's a much bigger jump than normal.
Yeah, in doing this on a patch that they're going to have their mid-season brawl on. So, hopefully it doesn't end up being that, but we will see. Hopefully we're wrong. Could be wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not as pessimistic, but I'm very hesitant for sure.
Yeah, I'll pull a page from old Dustin Browder, and I could be wrong. Tyrande here. Multi, you were alluding to this earlier. These are interesting changes. So the Shadow Stalk got a buff, cooldown reduced from 30 to 20 with a mana reduction from 50 to 40, which is nice. But then talents, her level 1 talents, her Ranger and Ranger's Mark both got buffed, as well as level 7 Huntress Fury. So this just tells me that her stun build was kind of probably a really high pick rate, so they're trying to bring the others up. I don't know if this will get me to go away from it. The Ranger is nice. It added functionality, now also increases Sentinel width by 25%.
That's pretty big.
It is. And then the Ranger's Mark, basic attacks required per decrease from 60 to 50. But I just find with the stun build, it's much easier to get up faster with being more mana efficient. And then in game, I don't ever run into any mana problems. I'm constantly able to spam my heal. And it does a ton of damage in game. The stun does.
That much is true. I don't really either run into too many mana problems, and I actually go with the D build pretty often. I found that if you take a few of those talents and then also take the one where you target somebody to be healed by your auto attacks. Mm-hmm. For instance, that level 7 Huntress's Fury, the splash amount that you used to get there was fine before, but now the range on that's been increased by 30%. Like, you can pretty substantially heal someone up just by auto attacking. And so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I need to play around with some of the other builds too, but I don't feel like she needed any of this. Like, I think that after the rework, she was already okay, but kind of like we were talking about earlier, they may be also trying to address the win rate issue. But
yeah, and that's a good point. And I'll have to exchange builds with you sometime to try yours.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had found really my only healing came from my Q, and then I had the talent to where people attacking my mark were healed from their basic attacks, and found that was plenty.
I think she's going to be worth sometime in the future doing another Hero of the Week on.
Yeah.
As she got such a significant rework, similar to Uther's.
And Shadowstalk is so fun. I actually did play her today just to try out the cooldown change. You really do feel like you have it up the whole time, and no one sees it coming. Crazy. Like they just kind of let you do your auto attacks. They don't really, unless they're coming for you anyway, they don't really target you down in like a big group fight. And if you have your mark up on the target you're auto attacking, you're doing some hurt, even to tanks. So yeah, I think she needs some talking about when time comes.
Okay. On the Warriors here, Nubarak, Burrow Charge, cooldown increased by 2 seconds up to 14. Bed of Barbs, movement speed slow reduced from 30 to 25. Epicenter cooldown reduction decreased from 1.5 to 1.25. I don't think this is going to affect him much.
This is weird. This is not where I would have targeted Nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have changed his health?
No.
For the love of God,
yes.
even if it needs it,
probably
please
have given him negative 10 health or something.
Oh, yes, of course.
Right now, a noob's biggest issue is Cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like no question, it is a very short cooldown, point and click heroic that can take somebody out of the game for several seconds. Granted, you can DPS the Cocoon down, but that's only if you get in the right situation to do so too. And so that seems to be, that's really where his strength lies right now. And so I was very surprised we didn't at the very least get a cooldown increase for it.
Yeah, I agree. And the way I kind of think about it, and I know it's not the exact same thing, but comparing the goal of this Cocoon is to take somebody out of the fight, and it's a point and click. The goal of, say, Greymane's Cursed Bullet is to take somebody out of the fight. Get a warrior or whatever front line to have to retreat to get healed up. That is much harder to hit. That is not a point and click. That is a skill shot on a, granted, very short cooldown. But it's trying to accomplish the same thing, and this is way too easy. I don't know if it should necessarily be a skill shot. It would make sense to me, like shooting a web out at somebody to try and wrap them up. So, I don't know. What do you think that would help with it, TBK, or do you think at or multi at professional levels, skill shots like that are going to be landed anyways?
I mean that's a lot of what people have been talking about from an alternative perspective is. Sure, keep the cooldown, but make it a skill shot instead of a point and click. And it definitely becomes way different because then does it hit the first hero you target? Because right now you can target it at anybody. Whereas if it's a skill shot, not only do you have to hit it, but it's a lot harder to pick your target as well. So you have to balance that too. Based on what are from Blizzard's side, what are the expectations for this heroic? What is the power for this heroic? Okay, if we make it a skill shot, then do we lower the cooldown even a little bit more? Do we make the health of the Cocoon a little higher? Do we just keep it flat and just say straight nerf? It's now a skill shot, and we're keeping it as it is. Do you keep it as is, let you target anybody, but increase the cooldown? There's a lot of different ways you could do it.
They could also lower the health of the Cocoon, and then that way it's just easier to break your friends out of it if they get stuck and all that stuff. So,
yeah. So he just seems to be another one of those heroes that they have trouble balancing. He's always either dead or top of the charts, which he's been top of the charts now again for a while here. And just a few more warrior changes. Dahaka, which I keep telling myself I want to start playing more of. I just never seem to be great at him. Seems to have gotten a buff here from the word on the streets. Dark Swarm duration increased by half a second to 3.5. Brushstalker movement speed duration increased from 1 to 2 seconds. And amount increased from 15 to 20%. So a pretty darn big buff for that. And then level 1 talent enhanced agility, movement speed, buff duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds. So a lot of movement speed. That's all pretty
substantial.
Yeah, and a nice.
This is a very big deal.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that seems like another pretty numbers wise drastic jump.
It's surprising.
It is.
Dark Swarm still is not quite as good as it used to be. Even with the extra 0.5 seconds, because you have to remember they increased the cooldown and they did a flat damage, so the damage it actually does against minions and mercenaries and stuff is flat now rather than getting bonus damage,
which is good.
And
stuff.
it worked out to not quite as good. Yeah, which is fine. He needed a little wave clear nerf. So you shored that up a tad by letting it last an extra 0.5 seconds. The big thing, though, with Dahaka, his biggest weakness was his movement speed. And so now, and I've seen the term race car build thrown around. Now with this Brush Stalker buff and his trait, which gives you the extra speed when you exit, when you're in and exit bushes, it does give him a fairly substantial mobility buff, which could make him very scary, especially as and I was going to talk about this a little bit, but it kind of works here in the Crucible. We saw several Dahapa builds from Zuna specifically going tongue build for reduced tongue cooldown. And that thing was up a lot when you using it like that, and giving him that extra CC, or if you build him that way, that extra CC plus the mobility, you could almost say he might even be solo tank material.
You at least can change up the way you play him.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
For sure.
I think this is going to be a big buff, and I think he'll be more contested, especially mid-season brawl and just in general because of it.
Yeah,
Look, I like it because I like Dahaka, frankly. I want to get in there and try this out myself. But it is dangerous anytime they're buffing any hero that has global presence like this. Because, again, they've got a lot of strength just based on that alone. Just his ability to brush stock his way. I mean, obviously it's better on certain maps than others, but, you know, like any buff to... Like what if they took Falstad right now and just gave him a flat numbers buff? He'd be insane. He'd be all over the place. He already is all over the place. So, you know, it's just... they're playing with fire here.
Yeah.
Yet again.
And, I mean, he had a heck of a showing this last weekend, so...
Right, exactly, so...
Diva here is getting kind of nerf and slight buffs, mostly nerfs, to her kit. Her boosters, they reduced the cooldown, and also the cooldown before being able to cancel the ability, they decreased. So
I love this. This is going to make it feel a lot more natural.
Yeah, it
more
does.
responsive.
It was a little awkward before, so this is good.
Level 1 hit the nitrous, got a nerf. Movement speed reduced from 375 to 325, and the tooltip was adjusted to reflect that instead of the total speed. Pro moves at level 1, which I never took because I always took hit the nitrous. Movement speed duration increased from 1 to 1.25. Level 13, a blade of armor, which we talked about. They reduced the threshold where a blade of armor is active from 5% to 4% of Diva's maximum health.
This is actually a really big nerf,
because
really
that's going to
a significant nerf.
Is that like a direct nerf to the like Tychus and?
In some ways, yes, but it's just a direct nerf to how often it's going to proc in general.
Right.
Because now you will need to be much more ahead. Like we're talking 2 to 3 levels to get the same functionality out of it that you would have gotten before.
Makes sense.
At maybe an even level.
Yeah, and that was their main, in the developer comments, their main thing. It was just procking way more than they thought it was. So it'll be good to see the numbers here. And
yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know if I would. I would again, because I know our build last week had you picking it or as one of the options. The other two are much more. They're much more attractive now.
Yeah, I've been going
than this one
since this change. I've been going back to the when your mech is destroyed, instead of getting destroyed, it adds a little shield.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a decent one.
Level 16 GGWP also got nerfed.
we called it.
Yep, they
Huge
said
nerf to this.
We didn't say it. Oh, never mind. Diva saying nerf this was to the ablative armor, but the damage bonus reduced from 75 to 50. I think it's still a good talent. It does a lot of damage there. I haven't spent a lot of time comparing it to the other two, but it still feels right. I think we all kind of saw that nerf coming.
It was a bit much.
It's a lot of
But
damage.
she still feels really good. I played her a lot today and got still made people angry enough to search me after the match.
Yes, that's right. I heard about that.
ETC, folks. ETC.
This is so dumb. This is so dumb.
How dare you, sir? His attack speed increased from 1 to 1.25 per second. In level
Huge
16 talent, aggressive shredding, cooldown reduction per basic attack reduced from 1 to 0.75. He's back. He's back.
This is just like rubbing salt in the wound, Blizzard. Like, and this is the trifecta of the Tassadar Ragnaros etc. Like, these are your three candles. And you lit one of them, and you blew one of them out, and this one, I mean, you need to take it back to the candle shop and remake it, remold it, recast it. This is ridiculous. ETC is in a horrible spot right now. He has a garbage trait. I'm sorry, he does. It is completely anti-synergistic to his kit. It does not play like a bard at all because he only does it to himself. He's a very selfish bard, Blizzard. Super selfish.
I mean, yeah, of course he is. He has two guitars. What guitarist needs two guitars? Obviously, he stole his bandmate's guitar.
I want him to give. I want him to be the wonderful cow that we all knew and loved, that liked to share with people, to share his love of music, and it got them all hyped up, and they started doing things faster. It was great. It was wonderful. Even if it's not that anymore, I want him to be able to share something else, and I don't want his survivability to be based on situational ability use.
You want to know what this tells me? And I don't know. I'm going to give you a grain of light coming through the clouds here. And I don't know if this is true at all, but I've kind of decided that changes like these, what they tell me is they are working on the hero. They have not come up with something they like yet, but these are changes they were looking at anyways, and guess what? They're fine, so we're just going to put them in there.
They do this a lot. They have these little micro numbers changes maybe before like a big rework, so hold on to hope there.
Yeah, so
these are not micro number changes. And the thing about it is they changed the trait. They changed a full trait. Like, that's not something you do on a whim.
No, I'm talking about these changes just right now.
Oh, these changes. Mm-hmm. I don't even know why they bothered with these changes. Like,
he's still unplayable.
He still pops like an overripe melon when put under any sort of damage. Mm-hmm. Like, he can't be a tank the way he needs to be a tank, and the way you get your armor does not work well with the way you're supposed to use his abilities. Mm-hmm. He's just and the reason I'm so passionate about ETC, I love ETC. ETC was like my main tank. Like, he's one of my highest level heroes, and I just loved his play style. He was super fun, and the trait rework plus subsequent ridiculous health nerfs just really killed it for me. Like, I have hardly played him since then, after testing him out for several games to see how he felt, because I wanted to give it a chance, but I hardly ever play him anymore because he's just not fun. Mm-hmm. Like, regardless of numbers, he's just not fun anymore.
The beef has gone rotten.
It has. It's spoiled.
Let's see here. And then a few bug fixes, some of the ones that kind of stuck out to me here that are pretty big. Diva players, killing mech is now going to give proper credit to certain hero talents and abilities like Seasoned Marksman or Lehman's Critical Mass, which is good.
Great job. I love this.
And then Tyranda's basic attacks against enemy heroes affected by Hunter's Mark that was applied by Celestial Wrath will now correctly splash to nearby heroes and mercenaries. And then also, Alarak, they fixed an issue where Lightning Surge was dealing less damage than intended to enemy heroes between him and his primary target. So, kind of some good ones there. Nothing still on the taunts animations. So I kind of wonder what's going on with that.
Yeah, I wonder if all the feedback has them going back to the drawing board, and they're just using the bugs as an excuse.
That's what it feels like.
Just redo it.
Because that doesn't seem like, and again, I'm not a programmer or anything, but that doesn't seem like something that was. It seemed like it was ready to go. So I don't know. Yeah, it kind of seemed.
And there's a blog post about it. There was like it was a fully implemented feature. You would think, and like you said, we have no idea the underworkings or how difficult it might be. You would think that just a bug that causes them not to go off correctly or something to happen wrong when they go off wouldn't be that hard to fix, seeing as that was several weeks ago.
But who knows? Maybe trying to fix that is what caused some crazy way the Spider Queen bug. Or
I was going to make the same joke. I was waiting in the wings with that one.
No,
you never know. So yeah, a very interesting balance patch here, and one that's had
a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's had a lot of criticism compared to some other balance patches. So we'll see where these heroes continue to go in the future. But we have a lot to talk about from this last weekend and what's coming up here. So let's go ahead and hop into that. TBK.
Thanks.
Like
this was a crazy weekend. There was a lot on the line as all the Crucible matches in Korea, Europe, and North America were played. And the results were, I would say, a mix of maybe what people thought was going to happen. Korea and North America did not see any changes, although Europe saw probably a far bigger dominance from the open team than I think anybody would have guessed.
Oh, yeah.
Because both the European Open teams defeated their HGC counterparts 4-0 and 4-1, I believe.
Yeah.
For the ending scores, which is pretty crazy.
That's a dominant performance
or
two.
And that's
nuts.
That is, these teams are playing this well after playing against and scrimming against open teams for as long as these HGC teams have been scrimming against, HGC teams. So I am super excited to see what these teams can do from coming in from the bottom and now getting better practice, improving as a team. I have high hopes for both these teams on how far they can make it up kind of the rankings.
Yeah, I think
for sure.
Europe is going to be incredibly competitive this second phase because those are the bottom two teams. And if these two open division teams can come in and pretty much wreck the bottom two teams, that makes you think that they're probably have the ability to at least compete pretty well with the lower and mid-tier EU teams.
Yeah, and even, potentially taking some games from some of the top teams. Like this, if you just watched this this match without seeing team names, you would have thought this is a 1 or 2 seed versus 7 or 8 seed in the division. So it's
pretty crazy. So
it's get really interesting.
So that was really cool that we did actually see the Crucible put into action, and it wasn't just a straight, all the HGC teams just cleaned up. It was no big deal. There's some seriously awesome talent coming out of EU for sure. And so unfortunately, the NA ones did not look quite as good. Even in Death was taken down pretty quickly, and even though Imported Support actually took 2 games off Naventic,
and they were pretty convincing too. Like they were on fire.
It was really weird because Naventic took 2 very strong games.
Oh yeah,
and then Imported Support took back 2 very strong games.
No, it was a huge just roller coaster to watch, honestly.
Yeah, you guys made
me get those first 2 out, and then you're like, oh, this is going to be a 4-0, but then
you guys made me hedge my bet, and so now I didn't. My prediction wasn't as cool.
To be honest, I feel like Naventic should have been able to 4-0.
I mean,
or
yeah,
4-1.
but I mean, you can say that about a lot of.
But
there's a lot of shouldas.
We'll talk about that in a second. Some of the issues they were having, but let's move on before we dive into the roster apocalypse, which I haven't really seen much of an EU roster apocalypse happening. There's been a few swaps here and there, but NA, Just
Here it
like good old
comes.
NA does. It's a thing. But first, like we mentioned earlier, the mid-season brawl has been confirmed to be playing on today's Diva balance patch. For better or for worse,
For worse.
it's that.
For worse.
We're gonna see UTC now. Oh yeah.
Yes, totally. And also Diva will be playable at the mid-season brawl, which is going to be
cool.
really, really cool. I cannot wait to see how she's used, if she's used, how she's used. But I assume she will be at some point.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of really good things about her, and she's got a super, super fun kit. So I'm excited to see some pros work on that. And speaking of the mid-season brawl, we have a bye week this weekend. But then starting June 10th, we will jump into the mid-season brawl that will be taking place in Sweden. The games start very early on the 10th for us here in the States. 7 a.m., 8:30 a.m., 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. So even earlier as far as you Pacific people go.
But they're used to that.
Yeah, they go quite a bit of the day. So I mean, the last match of the first day on June 10th is Dignitas versus E-Star, and that's at 2:30 p.m. Central. So even if you don't get up quite that early, you should be able to still catch a chunk of these games on the weekend.
And Blizzard does such a good job with the VODs for any of their games. It's so easy to just go back and not see what the score is ahead of time. Just click on the played games and go. So it's
for
really,
sure.
really well done in that regard.
Huge props to the Heroes Esports team, by the way, for getting all that stuff done. They've really been killing it with the written content. Has been fantastic this time around. Like you were saying, Multi, the VODs are awesome. They always put them up in chunks of 5 if it's a best of 5, or 3 if it's a best of 3, so that it's not spoiled. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they did a lot of work to make sure they're not spoiling it for you, which is incredible. So
yeah, I love it. So anyways, this is going to run from June 10th through Wednesday, June 14th, and that will be the first stage. And then Saturday, June 17th starts the second stage, and that will take place Saturday and Sunday and Monday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And the finals will be on Monday. So it's a lot of heroes. A lot of heroes to be able to watch throughout the week. This is going to be the first real clash. We had the East clash, we had the West clash. This is the first one where everyone is coming together. The best of everything is coming together. And we're going to see some of the minor regions again. Team Nomia, which did, I think, way better than anyone expected in the Western Clash, are going to be here again. So that's really exciting. I can't wait to watch them and see how they've improved over the last several months. But yeah, it's going to be really good. I'm really excited to try and watch as many of these games as I can, and then catch VODs of the ones.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Monday ones probably for us going to run during the working
right
hour.
Yeah,
but so it goes. And it's going to be awesome though. This is like a mini mid-year BlizzCon.
Yeah,
you can't complain.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they'll announce some cool stuff at the brawl. I mean, the whole Sweden DreamHack brawl thing is long enough.
True.
Yeah, they announced
they'd probably have to
Proteus
light a
Western.
few more candles first, but
or blow them out.
or blow them out slower.
They're gonna release a GIF of like 30 candles leading up to. They're gonna blow one out each day. So, roster apocalypse. There's been a lot of changes. The first major one being B-Step has disbanded completely. And so, because of that, the rule is being invoked that the top seed open team will get a chance at the slot. And as of right now, that is Even in Death. And the stipulation was that all 5 members of Even in Death that competed in the open have to stay together to get the spot. And they have, and they've accepted. So Even in Death will be moving into the HGC.
See, I don't love that, because I think imported support played better than them in the Crucible. I like even in death, okay, they got one win off of No Tomorrow, but their losses were convincing. Like there were moments where they physically could not move because their positioning was off, because like they just were too timid and their timing was off on several things. I'd hate for them to like just join up and get stomped on. Now at the same time, it's kind of playing off of what you were saying earlier, Gizmo, about the EU side. Now that they're in and actually have the chance to scrim against the HGC teams, maybe we will see some improvement and maybe they'll surprise us. But like on the face value, I'm hesitant on this one.
Yeah,
I would have liked to see more imported. Anyway,
it's one of those things that they have rules, and it's kind of crazy that like this is the first time we're having a Crucible where this is coming into play, this situation.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone quite expected.
Yeah, no one expected.
This is the first half of the very first season of HGC,
but
and an HGC team that was already in disbands.
Yeah, and no matter what,
a solid one at that.
No matter what you make the rule, I mean, there's going to be people upset about it, but this rule does make sense. They placed, the two teams that were in the Crucible played each other. And, the team getting into the HGC won. They beat that team. So to make them, if you say, oh, well, you guys didn't play as well, we're going to have you guys play in a playoff again now. Then that comes to the, hey, maybe they have a bad day and now they lose this time. And so, we beat the team the first time, so we should be in. So it's just...
It really comes down to precedent. Yeah. Right? At this point... even though they got more points in the open division as they went up, even though they played worse than imported support did on Crucible Day, it comes down to these are the rules that are in the books. And sure. If the rules are changed on a whim by Blizzard, what is the point of rules?
Yeah.
No, I can respect that, but it just feels bad, man.
No, I agree. And I agree. I think it does kind of feel bad in a lot of ways. Just because of how things went down. And I think this is a very good time now for discussion and for Blizzard to discuss potential changes to those rules for future seasons or future splits. But I completely understand. I completely support them enforcing the rule as is, because you don't want to set a bad precedent of we can just change the rules on the fly.
Oh, no, I do too. I didn't mean to say that I didn't. I'm just saying that it...
Yeah.
Well, and I want to Matt and C.S. Steve and a lot of the other guys have been under a lot of pressure, I'm sure, and been taking a lot of heat. But props to them for sticking to their guns, especially like we said, this probably they were not expecting something like this to happen immediately. So good on them for not trying second guessing themselves and trying to come up with some sort of resolution. So it's
and we'll see how they do. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Like we said, they get in there, they get a chance to play. They've
got a lot
surprise
to prove.
Us. Yeah,
they've got a lot to prove for sure.
I mean, Team 8, I didn't think was going to be great in the HGC. They're a team that barely made it in there, and look at them. So.
I hope they do well.
Yeah,
I hope they do well, because no one should be betting against them, because all that will do is make the region weaker. Like, we want them to succeed. We want them to be a strong team, because that will provide more competition, and that will make for better games and a better competitive environment overall for NA. Like, if they just bomb out 0-14 or whatever, no one wins in that.
I guess that's what I want to see the least. Like, that's just the last thing I want to see, period. So.
Yeah. So I wish them well. I hope they work hard. I hope they get lots of good scrims in, and I hope they get competitive. I think that would just be better for the region overall, for sure. So moving on from there, we have Gale Force Esports. And I think we talked about them last week. I don't remember if we did or not. There's all these things are blending together. There's been so many of them. But Crowan and Equinox were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we know one of the reasons why B-Step dissolved, because K1 Pro and King Caffeine have joined up with Gale Force Esports as
Which will be
their
cool.
tank and ranged, respectively. So on paper, that's a pretty strong looking team for sure. And then we also have Superstars dropped Goku. And as far as I am aware, we do not have a replacement for him yet. But there's several free agents kind of roaming around. And then this is the interesting thing, and this is kind of what I was talking about for Naventic's Crucible performance. Many people over the past however long have always pointed as Kenma as being the weak link in the team, and I would probably agree with that. It's a very mechanically strong team, and he's always stood out kind of as the weaker player, or a player that could be taken advantage of by another team. And when you're the team support, that can really hurt sometimes. And so he's actually taking a step back, and he's going to be moving into a coaching role for the team. And by the way, I've been seeing tons of Twitter posting and stuff from a lot of these teams looking for coaches. I think that's awesome.
Gale Force
It's just tons of teams. Several EU teams have posted that. And just teams, a lot of teams in general seem to be moving towards that we need a coach type role, and that's great.
Whatever strengthens the scene.
Yeah, that's only going to strengthen you. I mean, we saw what Dunk Train did for Dignitas in the Western Brawl.
Yeah.
Just being with them for a few weeks
and
as their coach.
Kind of while we're on the topic, I just want to reiterate, and I know we've talked about before, but it can't be stressed enough. Whenever if you guys are active on social media or Twitter, whether it is players looking for teams, organizations looking for players or coaches, anything like this, teams looking for organizations to sponsor them, retweet the crap out of that stuff, because that is what shows organizations that there's interest in this esport. You know, it helps to create teams, get players on teams, and you know, get these positions open to increase the level of play. So that's like the number one thing that we can do. So retweet, share, do whatever you can.
For sure.
Yeah, it definitely helps them out. And so with Kenma now moving to the cultural of Naventic, iDream will be moving in now to Naventic to fill that spot. And so that takes care of most of B-Step. I believe McIntyre is still looking for a team, and I believe APM from B-Step is retiring. So most of B-Step has already found a new home somewhere else. Yeah. Also in the big news, and apologies too if we miss any of this, there's been a lot. There's been a lot going around, so we're trying to hit as much as we can.
Come back, Josh.
Yeah, Josh did a really good job. There's a few good resources. There's a Reddit. There's a Reddit post with information right now on spreadsheet keeping track of all the different things.
That's
Cage
a nice
Curie,
spreadsheet.
yeah, at KAGEKIRI HOTS. Keeps a big spreadsheet on pin tweet on the roster apocalypse and fairly up to date if you want to check that out too. So there's a few different resources that I'm pulling from for all this information. And the next big one, Teammate got sponsored finally, but not by an esports organization. Teammate was sponsored by Roll20, which is like a virtual tabletop game company.
It's interesting.
So they are now Roll20 Esports. I will miss the Teammate moniker a little bit.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Yeah, for sure. But cool that they got a sponsor, though. And that more orgs are just looking to get into the scene. So.
Oh, yeah. Apparently the co-founders are huge HOTS fans, and this is perfect timing for them. Teammate has been doing really, really good. They've been without a sponsor, and because of this new partnership, they're actually now being sponsored for a boot camp in Sweden from June 1st through the 8th.
That's awesome.
Where
Nice.
that'll allow them to get together and play together in person in Sweden, hopefully against some of the other EU teams and perhaps even Korean or China teams if they're there earlier. So that's a huge deal, being able to play together and getting that practice in early. And that's the kind of thing sponsors allow you. And finally, Team Freedom has dropped Insomnia from their lineup, and they are picking up Cure, who, as some of you might remember, on the winning Heroes of the Dorm team, UTA, this time around, and also like the #1 GM for several seasons straight.
Yeah.
So
Wait, so they cured insomnia?
oof, that's savage.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon? I just want to know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. But anyway,
Yeah, no, Cure's a fantastic Melee player. Absolutely
Cool.
fantastic. So he's going to be, I think, a really good addition to that team, and hopefully Insomnia will be able to find another team as well. Whew.
yeah,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
It
I'm
is.
done.
It's interesting, and I saw this mentioned in chat here, and I'm sure there's other people that kind of feel the same way. And I know there's a lot of people that watch esports that may potentially not watch a lot of other sports. Changes like these, while we're not having them after every tournament like we used to, can be a big shakeup, and it's really unfortunate for some players like McIntyre, who was not among one of the, from what I know, voting members to disband B-Step. And now, he qualified for HGC, but he doesn't have a team anymore. But
it's
that is,
unfortunate.
it's
is.
unfortunate. And hopefully he does find a spot. And he's a good player. And I know, even if it's not immediate, if he wants to stick around this scene, he'll have a place. But this is just like any sport. And if esports is going to grow, that's kind of how it needs to be. If you take like baseball, for instance, trade deadlines, you could be on a team that's making a run for the playoffs, going to win the World Series. You get dropped, you get traded. It's just kind of, it's the unruly way of business, because sports is a business. And organizations and teams try and make the best decisions for the teams overall, and some people may get the short end of the stick. But overall, this is kind of what needs to happen for the scene to grow. Yeah. And we don't wish that on anyone, but things like this are going to happen.
Yeah. And for those wondering the rules, each team has 2 trades they can make. And that's why B-Step had to disband, because there's 3 members left.
Yeah.
And 1 member
trade them all
retired.
off.
And so they couldn't, they couldn't trade enough. And so that's why it disbanded. And that's an interesting piece of this setup, right? Because these spots are not owned by orgs.
Yeah. So
they're basically owned by players who have formed this team. But an org does not own the spots. So the consciousness that is B-Step doesn't actually continue on. If people left, you would just get a new B-Step team. Because that's just not how this league works.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you think about it, 3 of the members left, then that's not technically, you don't have the team that earned that spot anymore. It's less than half. So you can't just, pick 3 players you're choosing that didn't earn that. And I don't and I don't mean to, I apologize if that came off as cold or heartless. Like that's not my intention at all. Like I feel really bad for people in those situations, but it's just how it has to work.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's how it works. And one more before I forget, Airho was dropped from No Tomorrow.
Oh no. I like Airho.
So they will probably be looking for a new tank. So lots of stuff for you esports people. It'll be really interesting to see how these shakeups end up and how the team rankings end up looking once the new season starts. Yep. So we'll see.
Let's hope we just get a stronger scene from it. I mean, there's the risks.
That's the hope.
This could be a weaker scene from it. So we'll see.
All right. TBK, community content. What do you got for us this week?
I've got a few pretty sweet things, actually. The first of which was there was a huge Blizzard art dump on ArtStation. And it's got a ton of really cool, like, work in progress hero stuff. So we'll have the link to that in the show notes. Definitely go check it out. You can see some of, like, the early models for Hanamura, some of the environment art stuff, the banners, the emojis, some cool things, just like even the Hanamura little minions, how much work went into those. Really, really cool art dump. So definitely go check that out.
I like that they take the time to cite the artists too, because you can kind of like get to know the artist's work this way.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Secondly, Psalm of Tempo Storm recently put up his what he calls the Heroes of the Storm library, and this is absolutely incredible. It's got two of his big guides for Zeratul and Greymane, but then it's got tier lists overall and map specific tier lists. Then it has talent builds for pretty much every hero, YouTube how-tos, and then articles on the clashes. It's pretty freaking sweet and extremely comprehensive.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
Go check that out if you want to get some information, learn some stuff from the pro scene. Mm-hmm. And then finally, I wanted to highlight this. This was from a post entitled "You Are Not Entitled to Rank Up," and it's a specific response by Jellicoe that was highly upvoted in this specific topic. And this kind of calls back to what we were talking about last week with the Hero League and Team Link stuff. Basically, he just he explains that he's got 4 accounts right now. He's got like his original technical alpha that, like most of us, never had the MMR reset at all. And so he says his technical alpha account can't break Silver 1. He can get to Silver 1. I've hit Silver 1 3 times. Personal rating adjustments were hitting -8 for wins and as much as -22 for a loss. So he's stuck at Silver 1 there. He has a second WoW account that he uses sometimes. It dates back to closed beta. He's played it every season, and he's able to maintain a gold 4-5 in that one. Then he has a pristine account. This account has never been grouped, was not used in alpha beta, was created after preseason. It has been played in every season, however, explicitly kept every season at or below 50 games. But it's been played every season. I initially placed mid-gold, but 2 seasons ago I hit Plat 5. The following season I placed Gold 1 and hit Plat 5 again. This season, again, I placed Gold 1 and hit Platinum 5 for a 3rd season. Then he creates a brand new account, does 10 placement games, and gets Diamond 3.
Yeah,
this is the same person. This is the same person. I was playing the same core heroes, Arthas, Greymane, Zebo, Kharazim. I play Asmodan on the Alpha account, and I was playing Lost Vikings exclusively on Garden Terror on the Silver account. So I ask you, am I a Silver, Gold, Platinum, or Diamond player? I do not understand why there can't just be a straight-up system. Show me my MMR, show me my teammates' MMR, show me how many points I win, lose, and tell me the range of MMR, Silver, this is Gold. While I agree that one is not entitled to rank up, I do feel that I should have an equitable playing experience regardless of which account I'm using. It makes no sense that I can play 4 different accounts and have them in each independent ranking.
Yep, it's kind of bizarre.
So this really calls back to what we were talking about a lot, where maybe it's too easy to get into Diamond, or maybe it's too hard, or the system of actually ranking up needs some work as far as promotion demotion matches. Perhaps with old accounts with such a history, it can be harder to break out of things. I think it's a really telling example of 4 accounts.
Yeah.
And it's the same dude but silver, gold, plat, and diamond.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
and that's kind of, and one of the comments is mentioning like, MMR Hill does exist and you're in it. And it's kind of where I felt I'm at. Like, I by no means do I think I'm a master or grandmaster player. But I do seem to kind of be stuck in this area. And it's just one of the issues of, when they're taking your overall MMR from your hero's history. Because when I started the game, like this guy, I started back in Tech Alpha, I was horrible at the game, so I've improved. And I would like to see them move to where it's a window that follows you as you progress. Like, it takes your, last 6 months, that is your MMR, and it moves with you as you play throughout the game. Because 6 months, with a minimum number of games required, like in that time, or it'll go back more. Because that is enough time, and maybe even shorter, maybe a little bit longer, I don't know, to show, consistency and where you should be at. But then at the same time, a system like that, well, if you're stuck in this league and you're playing these players, I don't know. It's one of those things of a PvP game with a matchmaking system that's never going to be perfect. There's ways to improve it. There's ways to make it worse. And I am glad I don't have that job.
Yeah. But at the same, it's a thankless job, no question. And I mean, you do the best you can, but at the same time, you have to think there's something not right about this. Because he goes on to say, I'm not so arrogant to believe I belong in Diamond 3. However, you state that one is not entitled to rank up, but shouldn't I have some form of stability as a long-term player? Shouldn't I have some assurance that I'm given a fair opportunity to level up? You can't tell me with 8,000 games played, it's equitable to playing with an account that doesn't have 200 total games played. As a 52% win rate over 500 games, is it appropriate to match me with 4 people who lose 9 straight games and have a 22% win rate for the season? And so it's just what rank am I?
Yeah.
Right.
Am I silver? Am I gold? Am I platinum? Am I diamond? I have 4 accounts that tell me I am all of these. Like, it's the spread should not be anywhere near that. Maybe a gold, a plat account, maybe a silver gold account, but you shouldn't have a silver account and a diamond account with the same person.
Yeah,
if that makes
bizarre.
It's pretty crazy. So I didn't want to necessarily like go into it again because I thought we had a pretty good discussion on it last week, but I just wanted to bring this up as another example to kind of reinforce a little bit with what we talked about last week, especially new accounts getting ranked so easily in the upper echelons of things, and then perhaps even those players then falling down to where they should be, making for bad games along the way. So it's very interesting, and like you said, I don't envy the people who have to really figure this stuff out because it's tough.
Yeah, and he later goes on to like stipulations for his new account he made. He leveled all of his heroes 4 ranked in AI, so that wasn't going to get enough heroes to be able to get in ranked, but wasn't going to affect his PvP MMR. So there's
he did a lot of work to
prove
his point here.
Like
this is all well documented
for sure. So
they'll have the actual link in the show notes if you want to read the whole thing. It's a very interesting read and very well documented.
For sure. All right. So we have some emails this week. Let's go ahead and knock some out. All right, Malty. First one coming up here. Maybe possibly appropriate. Who knows?
Who knows? So it's from Brian Howard, who writes, do you think we will ever see the opposite sex Diablo heroes? Like, for example, female witch doctor, male barbarian, etc.? Possibly. I know it's been an idea that's been certainly thrown around for some time, but at the same time, like, I know the Blizzard team has to have certain considerations in mind here in terms of, like, are they changing the silhouette of the character? Because that could get a little awkward. And then also, like, I mean, I don't know, to bring in all the voice acting that would be needed for the changes and everything, as well as I mean, would you rename them? Like, would it be Naziba? Like, I'm not so sure on this one. I'm kind of like, I would like to, but I'm kind of thinking it's too much work for what it's worth. But what do you guys think?
I initially thought this may be possible with some of them, and I mean, it wouldn't have to be like Naziba. They can come up with some female name, I don't know.
Nazibina.
I mean, they don't have to be related at all. But I kind of lean towards probably more likely seeing skins if it happens, and maybe potentially both. But because you have to be able to make a unique kit out of it. And if you take a hero like Nazeebo, he has spiders, toads, and the wall. There are a lot of other Witch Doctor abilities that are used in some of the big builds and especially more popular than those. However, when you take, say Vala, yeah, you can still make another hero. There are more abilities used, but they actually use kind of a lot of the big builds as far as multi-shot Hungering Arrow, Volt being a big thing, Rain of Vengeance, what's the spinny one? Strafe. So, so like you think, what else could they do? Well, Sentry builds are big, but we don't want another Sentry hero necessarily because we have Gazlo. So I think some heroes it would be potentially easy to do that. Wizard might be one.
Oh, that'd
going
be really
more of a
easy.
Pyro build or Frost, things like that. So it'll be interesting. I think there's the potential for both, but more likely I would lean towards skins. I don't know what you think, TPK.
From a silhouette perspective, it would be tough.
Right.
Because if you gender swap, you're looking at probably completely new skeletons, completely new animations, and such. And so because of that, those things can look a lot different from the standard character and standard hero. So that's one concern I would say, is just like the whole silhouette, the whole look, and not being able to recognize necessarily if it's just a skin. I would definitely lean towards making them new heroes in their own right. Like Greg was mentioning, some it'll be easier than others, but there's a lot of abilities per Diablo hero, and that I feel like you could definitely come up with a kit.
But see, my problem with that, though, is that it would be kind of boring because in my mind we already have the D3 wizard. So instead of making a Frost D3 wizard, just give me a D2 sorceress that has some Frost spells. Like that's
that means
that'd be a different...
that's probably a lot lower priority.
Yeah.
Like I honestly don't see either a new character that is the opposite gender or even skins necessarily being a high priority for these, because of that fact.
The skins is an interesting thing because for the most part, Diablo actually does a really good job of keeping same animations. Like the Witch Doctor is almost identical. So for some of them, and it's kind of the same thing. For some of them, I think it would be easier for them to make a skin. Like I think Wizard would be easy. I think Witch Doctor would be easy. Barbarian would probably be the toughest because the male Barbarian's quite a bit larger. But, you can go... If you're going to make an opposite sex skin, I would think it would be highly based off of the original skin. So I think armor and clothing and stuff would make it easily enough recognizable.
So it kind of keeps the same silhouette.
Yeah, so it kind of keeps the same silhouette. It'd just be very slight changes. But, yeah, that is a good point if they feel like that's enough to cause confusion, because that's the last thing you want to do, even if it would be cool to have those skins in the game. All right. Yeah. How about this next one here? I don't know who that's from.
Reuse, recycle. Well, reuse_recycle. This is an email we got back a little bit ago. We had to skip it last week because it kind of opens up a whole discussion, but we can do this. And by the way, I did paraphrase this. This isn't word for word, so I'm just trying to get the point across because it was a little on the long side, but it was cool, and the idea behind it is great. So. All right, so Reuse Recycle wrote in and suggested that sometimes it seems like you queue into Quick Match and get all backline squishies on your team. and the opposing team has a stronger front line. And in these cases, the frontline comp often outmatches all the squishies, and it feels unbalanced in these matches. And so it also seems like bruisers like Varian or slightly squishier melee and backline assassins are all considered the equivalent in the matchmaking system of these range squishies. And so it feels random as to which comp you end up on. So his solution is to, instead of assigning the roles like tank, assassin, specialist, etc., within the matchmaker, instead giving each character a frontline value, which is a rating system for how each character performs in the front line. Varian himself could be somewhere in between a bruiser and a tank, for instance, to compensate for the fact that he can spec into more than one frontline value with his different heroics there. He thinks this could really help balance out the totally random comps that you run into and cut down on the feels bad situations where you feel like you've lost at the loading screen. And actually, interestingly, our next email is similar along these lines as well.
It's funny because it kind of counters this idea.
Counters a little bit. But I do like the idea here of the frontline value, at least, just on its face value there, as like a new metric that Blizzard could look at for balancing these things out. I don't think it should necessarily be the only thing, but I mean, I think he's onto something with this idea, at least a bit. What do you guys think?
I like it. I think, like you said, you would need to combine the two. So I think they would need to take into consideration the roles and then also kind of like the rest of the team. Because if you don't take in the roles, well, then you can get somebody like, how would you necessarily, mark Butcher or Thrall, who have a lot of sustainability, so they can be some heavy frontline people. So if they have a high value, then your team doesn't get a tank, but the other team does. They don't have self-sustain, things like that.
Right, yeah.
But it is... I do like the idea and the direction. The question, and I've had, because I've been playing a ton of quick match, I have had my, trust me, fair share of weird, wonky matchups. But you got to go towards like how easy is it for them to implement a system like this, to take it from square one to redesign it versus spending time on other aspects. I kind of feel like I want them to get the ranked, and again, there's different teams. I don't know who works on what, but getting everything for the competitive and like the team league, getting clans in, team builders for how the game is meant to be played, while quick match is still just kind of a testing ground, and then come back. And once, that stuff's in a good spot, try and reinform this. And that's coming from somebody who plays a lot, mostly quick match right now. And it's kind of awful sometimes. I don't know, TBK.
It's complicated.
It is. Yeah.
It's complicated. It's you would have to do a lot of ground up work.
Yeah.
To do that. And while that could have been a decent option if they started with it, I think there's ways they can fix it without having to rewrite the whole system.
Fair point. Also, adding another layer.
And I've talked about them before.
Well, I think they're headed in the right direction. Like they've started making it to where characters like Tyrande and Tassadar and stuff. Although they will need to rethink some of those changes, perhaps. But they are working towards it. But yeah, something like this seems like it would be a lot of work.
Right, and it could increase queue times if they've got more things that they're trying to specify with the search. So I don't know.
I still think my favorite
restrictive you made the rules.
Yeah, I think my favorite quick match solve is the queue for 3 heroes, reward you somehow, whether that be more gold or whatnot, depending on how many heroes you queue for, how many different roles. Because, like I said, I would love to queue as an assassin, a tank, and a specialist, or a support that I'm all working on. And build me the best match out of those heroes. Don't care who I play.
Love it.
So
just love it.
Yeah, there's a ton of different things they could do.
It's all about giving the quick match matchmaker more flexibility.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next one from Captain Logan.
Yes, so this one kind of, like you said, counters it a little bit, but really just brings us back up into a positive light here. So Captain Logan writes, so I wanted to write this up as a success story for the show. Recently in Quick Match, I've been noticing more and more games where I'm paired up with a couple other mages and a specialist and assassin. this is usually against a well-balanced team. So, he's bringing up the same kind of complaint here. Going in, I am already expecting the GGWP Blizzard matchmaking salt to pour from the heavens like a rainbow, which, by the way, I didn't realize that rainbows were made of salt, but it's news to me. Anyway, so I've started to try and cut this off before the game even starts by saying something like, I know we got the short end of the stick with the Blizzard matchmaking system, and I'm not expecting to win, but I will play my best and just have fun. This is usually met with agreement, because who could argue with that? And I have actually won every game as a result, which leads me to believe that with even the worst comp, if people go in expecting that each of us will not give up and will try hard, we can pull off victories. Stay positive and don't die. Hails from Silver League. So, yeah, and that is a good point. I mean, just building up your team's confidence even when you feel like you're down from the start. I mean, again, like some ranged mages and a specialist and that sort of thing in quick match, you can coordinate and focus targets and get some work done. I've seen crazy stuff happen, especially in quick match. So, no, it's great hearing a story like this.
Yeah, and it's all about mindsets, and it's good. Like we've talked about communication. It's good letting your team know to, what you're to put out the good vibes, and hopefully they'll be returned. You have a squishy team, you're gonna have to change how you play for this match.
It's all about mindset.
Yep,
right. It really is. And remember that for the most part, the other team is disorganized as your team. It doesn't always happen like that, but usually if you're queuing in 5 randoms against 5 randoms, or maybe there's a 2-stack or something in there somewhere, no one has the advantage as far as making everybody work together. So starting things off positively just helps people play better.
For sure.
And that can overcome comp deficiencies, I guess you could call it, in a lot of games. If you just play better, play to the strength of your comp, make adjustments if you need to switch people who are laning against the wrong person, because in those situations, lane matchups matter a lot more than in a pre-made comp, because when you pre-make, you know exactly where you're going to put your lane matchups. But in those type of things, be flexible, be fluid, and you can totally win.
Agreed. All right. Naraki.
Okay, Naraki writes, so my question for the Lords is, has Blizzard ever specified how they do nerfs and buffs for HOTS specifically? I played WoW for a long time, so I know how they operate there, but I never looked for that in HOTS, and was wondering if you guys would know. This came to mind today because of the balance notes and just how unbalanced they seemed. Blizzard obviously has access to stats that we don't, down to the most minimal detail, and yet it feels like sometimes they don't know what they're doing and are just throwing darts at a spinning board. What makes me say that were the nerfs to Ragnaros today. I feel you, bro. I feel you. They came out of nowhere and don't help the character with his lack of talent diversity, or the fact that his E has been useless since release, just makes it hard to play, etc. He said, that's all. It was kind of a rant and a question at the same time, so I apologize in advance. We did touch on certainly Ragnaros earlier, and you'll find we're of an accord with you on that one. But yeah, to answer the question, though, they do try to look at win rates. Certainly, that's been a high point for them. Just trying to shoot for anywhere from the 45 to 55% range in there. And yes, I mean, you're spot on. They're looking at their internal numbers and not, hot slogs or any of the other sources that we have. So that's good. But, I would say that, yes, there are anomalies like this, and obviously we heard TBK talking about the ETC as well. But on the whole, they really are trying to look at the big picture and do at least a decent job for the most part. Would you guys agree with me on this one? Or
yeah, I'd say for the most part, they hit the mark a lot more often than they miss it.
The other nice thing is that they're not tuning it for just the pro scene, which is something I've frankly seen in League of Legends. They're thinking about, okay, what are the gold players doing? What are the silver players doing? What are the players that have an account in silver, gold, platinum, and diamond doing? And trying to cater to them too.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of get a little bit of insight, and these are the type of things I wish because we get the developer comments sometimes. And those are the type of things I wish they would expand to whenever they do balance changes, even if it's just 1 or 2 sentences, they would throw it in there. just as to, because there are people like you and frankly like me, and there's probably a lot of us who read the balance notes religiously, check them every single time. I know there's a lot of people who probably don't even care about balance notes. They just play,
or don't even know.
Yeah, or don't even know.
The disadvantage you might be there.
And that's one of the reasons we go over balance patch notes, is so if you don't or don't want to, you can get kind of a little bit of a perspective on them. But I would really like to see, because obviously there's reasoning for everything they do, right? And I don't think that needs to be a secret. I don't know why it would need to be a secret. So why not just, whenever you throw a balance patch out or whenever you throw a big patch out, even if it's just small changes, write 1 or 2 sentences and just say, this is kind of the why. We don't necessarily have to agree with it, but it would be nice to know what was going on in their heads when they did it.
They kind of do that with the characters.
They don't do it with
ones,
everything,
right?
though.
That's true.
And that's where I bring this up. We get this for some, but not all. I wouldn't mind seeing this for all. Like I said, even if it was just a few sentences, I would love to see this for all the balance changes they do. And just to kind of, I just want to kind of get a little insight into the why. And like I said, I don't have to agree with it, but it would be really nice to at least say, oh yeah, so we nerfed Ragnaros because of this. Oh, okay. I understand. I don't agree, but I understand. Instead of, boom, Ragnaros nerf. No context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me try and put on my heroes balancing team hat here, which you can see does not exist. And it, again, balancing is hard in a live game. I would like to think that it would be helpful for them to put a few sentences out, but say just for instance, the ETC ones, if it happened to be along the reasons I was saying of, oh, they're working on some changes for them, they haven't figured out where they want it yet, but these work, so they're going to throw them in. If that's what they say, and then these changes that they are working on stuff, it hits a wall and completely blows up, well, now they have to come back and say, well, that's where he's at right now. We still need to do more work on him, which a lot of people would be fine. But, thinking from like a PR perspective or whatever, you never want to admit failures, which Blizzard isn't afraid to do. They've had instances like Zarya, where they buffed her, said that was a mistake.
Like
a day later, gosh dang it, Zarya. A day later, we're going to nerf her. And it's harder. The Ragnaros, every change they make to a hero doesn't just affect that hero. It can affect every single matchup that hero plays against, for previous heroes, for any hero that's coming out in the future. So it's just a really hard thing. And transparency and stuff would be, we would love it, but I think it's harder than just saying. I think there are more reasons than just possibly a few sentences, because even on some of the small changes, sometimes the developer comments are pretty long and intense.
So let's do them. Let's have them.
Let's have what?
The comments.
I like where you're at there, TBK, but I will side with Gizmo in the sense that I don't want them to make promises they can't keep. Because, again, if they have to backtrack and go back. I think that's why we have instances where, like, Ken Eric Hagman says, we're changing how Alarak works a little bit, and then it's a whole rework, essentially, and how, like,
He's like, I'm not supposed to say that, but maybe that didn't work out.
I'm not saying they need to justify it. I'm just wanting to get their perspective on it, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily need to agree with them, but I would like to know the reasoning behind it and get a little bit more context around it, because then we don't have to have these conversations of why did they do that? They're so dumb, blah blah blah, type things.
Yeah.
And then if there's and then we can make much more informed opinions and arguments if needed, based on their perspective. But then they can take that information.
I get that, but that also, I mean, they get the heroes team takes they enjoy the feedback and stuff and applying it to things they change. If they give us something to where we can clearly like, okay, yeah, I agree with this, I don't agree with this, that creates a ton more feedback potentially coming their way that makes it harder for them to just do their job. Which, again, they may be doing it incorrectly, they may be doing it correctly, who knows. But as far as back to the kind of question point, I don't know if they've touched on balances specifically, but when it comes to hero creation and reworks and stuff, they've talked about the things that they kind of prioritize to keep watch on. But yeah, I mean, more info would be good, but I think I can potentially kind of see some of the reasons they don't do it. That doesn't mean I don't want them to do it. I can see why they potentially might not do it. I don't know. Oh. Let's do it. Let's squeeze out this last one so we're caught up on emails.
You want to?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll sum this one up. It's DB_play writing in, and he was just kind of talking about the Dahaka's received a significant buff in today's patch, and then just kind of asking us to talk a little bit about what it's like to play with him in quick match specifically. And I mean, yeah, I agree. The issue with him in quick match is that because he's kind of an off tank role. I mean, he's got the global, but he doesn't really do. He doesn't have as good of a frontline value, if you will, as like Muradin or someone else. So there's the issue there, but it's kind of like, I mean, obviously if you actually queue in with Dahaka and get another solid tank in your team, then you're pretty well gold. Like if you can play Dahaka fairly well, just do your thing. You got a lot of self-healing. Mm-hmm. You have got all kinds of map presence that you can take advantage of. You can split soak and then close it in for the fight. Like your team doesn't even have to be coordinated with you. You just do your own thing. Be where you want to be, and it's kind of awesome. And in my mind, you can kind of do that if you still queue in and it's just you in the tank role. You just have to play differently. Like, don't dive as deep, or like really watch your positioning and that sort of thing. Try to get that one clutch drag with the tongue. So I mean, I don't know. I think he's okay in Hero League personally, but. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say, like I said earlier, I'm by no means a Dahaka player. He's one of my worst, probably. I don't play him enough. But when it comes to, he is kind of, he has the global presence. He is great at setting up kills, ambushing people. But the issue in the quick match is, when he gets that solo tank area, he's not really a front line. Sure, you can kind of build him sustainable, but a big portion of his thing is his healing and his burrow. What happens as soon as you burrow and you're the only tank? They have immediate access to your back line.
Right.
And you see that in the HGC. So, through balances and stuff, maybe that'll be better sometime, but it really just kind of goes to the mindset of, hey, if you are playing Dahaka in quick match and you get solo tank, kind of like let your team know, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to potentially be the warrior you want me to be, but let's keep our heads on straight. Let's try and form something. Say instead of just initiating at a head-on team fight, let's try and set up the ambush. I'll land my tongues, nerf that nuke him down. Let's do this. So just kind of changing it up. That's what I got.
Yeah.
TBK.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Is he a dinosaur or a bug, TBK? Answer.
He's a dinosaur.
Dinosaur bug.
He's a dinosaur.
Okay.
It's a dinosaur.
But no, it's totally true. Dahaka thrives the best in a dual tank sort of situation where you can be off doing your own thing, split soaking, split pushing, and then being there at the team fights at the instant you need to be. I mean, that is the best way to play Dahaka. You want to be moving around, you want to be ganking, and it is definitely harder to do that when you are the solo tank. But like the other guys are saying, it's just your mindset. You just have to play differently when you are the solo tank. You have to save that tongue. You may need to take the talent where you have better tongue cooldown instead of building a more damagey bruiser type Dahaka that you might if you were a second tank. So
yep.
Save that tongue.
All about the mindset.
Tongue better.
All about the mindset. All right. Well, we have done it once again, ladies and gentlemen. A short news week with a balance patch coming out and another long episode. You're welcome.
Yeah. And as a tidbit bonus for the very end, No Tomorrow, as of like 7 minutes ago, just announced that Equinox was picked up for Tank.
Awesome.
To replace Arrow.
Sweet.
So.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are caught up on emails for like the first time in forever.
A really long time.
So send us more.
And if by some chance we missed, if you guys sent something in a while ago and we missed it because we fell far behind, shoot us that again. We want to make sure we get it. And yes, continue to send us emails. We really do. I appreciate, you guys sending those in, and we're glad that we can, help you guys out with tips, tricks, and whatnot. All right, Multi, let's wrap this bad boy up with a little bow. Where can we be reached?
We can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or in our Discord, which is sticky at the top of our Twitter, at Lords of the Storm. Or you can find us on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. We're also on facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can email us with feedback or questions. And again, build up our backlog, Lords of the Storm at Outlook.com. And if you want to help out the show, a couple ways to do it. You could leave a 5-star iTunes review. Those are pretty cool. Positive Stitcher. I think we had a few new reviews. We may have to, I don't know if you guys have them up. But,
I don't.
we can hit them up later.
We'll hit them up next week.
Yeah. Or if you want to help out even more, really get a shout out on the show, there's the patreon.com/Lords of the Storm podcast, or Lords of the Storm. It doesn't end in podcast. Just patreon.com/Lords of the Storm. And if any of you want to hop on there and help us out, we appreciate that too.
Yeah, and I'll be gathering the next batch of people who have supported us and just started supporting us for all the stuff on your tier to get that sent out. It's okay if you're not supporting us anymore. If you're listening to this, it would make it 100 times easier on me if you shoot us a message on Patreon that you have not received your tier list, because it is kind of, Patreon needs to work on their stuff a little bit, make it a little easier. But I will be putting that together. So thank you for being patient on that. But you can also find us individually. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, all the things at GizmoZord, as well as an occasional host on Convert to Raid Presents, the Battle.net News, World of Warcraft focused podcast featuring all things Blizzard. Multi, where can you be reached?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm also occasionally on a show called The Cavalry, which this last week, it was just Slambo and Tank Zord over there. They're on Twitter at The Cavalry Show. And they recorded last night, I think, so they didn't quite get the Horizon Lunar Colony new map in there yet, but I'm sure that's going to be a hot topic next week. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And Ryan, TBK.
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord, where I occasionally stream hero stuff.
Yeah. We're going to want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Mr. Ouroborosword, for helping to support the show. We really do appreciate it. Yes, Tassadar, take him through Hero League. And bring ETC back, because he's super strong right now. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central. Have a good one, folks.
Night.
Enough. I shall do no more.